Hello, everybody, and good morning. We're going to continue our exploration of the Nutcracker today and learn a little bit more about the story. Miss M, for your live students who have a good morning greeting song, pause and let some friends be leaders today so we can get warmed up for music. Welcome back to everybody. Like I said, we're going to start by learning the story today. So, what is the story? Well, the main character of the story is a young girl named Clara. On Christmas Eve, magical things happen in her house that transform her toys to life. Her beloved new toy, the Nutcracker, comes alive. They go through a strange battle with the Mouse King, and after surviving the battle, the Nutcracker comes to life as in a real person, not a toy anymore, and he takes Clara on a magical journey to the land of snow and ultimately to the land of the Sugar Plum Fairy, which is the land of sweets. They are greeted with a party and a show. After enjoying drinks and having tons of people dance for them as entertainment, at the end of their journey, Clara wakes up under her Christmas tree with the Nutcracker toy next to her, wondering, was this just a dream or was it all real? So like I said, today we're going to focus on that, and I have a video here that is a reading of the book of the Nutcracker. The story is almost 100% the same as the ballet, so it's the best one that I could find. I'm going to remove my face for everybody so we can focus. And here is the story of the Nutcracker.
The snow's falling gently outside and the logs are crackling in the grate. It's time to read a classic Christmas story. The Nutcracker by E.T.A. Hoffman, illustrated by Valeria de Campo. It was Christmas Eve and the snow was gently falling. Clara and her brother Fritz were very excited. That night there would be a magnificent party with music and dancing, as well as lots of fantastic presents. Fritz was busy with his toy soldiers, lining them up and giving them their orders. Clara put the finishing touches to their enormous tree. She hung shining baubles and candy canes tied with bows from the branches. "This is my favourite part," Clara said to her brother, as she lifted up a beautiful fairy with delicate wings and a sugar plum coloured dress. At last it was time for the party to begin. "The guests are arriving," cried Clara, peeping out of her bedroom window. Fritz came running over to see who was crunching through the snow. "Can you see Godfather Drosselmeyer?" asked Clara. "Yes, there he is, waving," cried Fritz. "Come on." Their godfather was a famous toy maker. He made the most magical toys in the whole city. Clara and Fritz could hardly wait to see what he had brought for them. Godfather Drosselmeyer hugged the children at the door, and, with a flourish, he produced 2 gifts. Fritz eagerly unwrapped a mechanical gobstopper machine. For Clara, there was a wooden nutcracker in the shape of a soldier. "Take good care of him," said Godfather Drosselmeyer. "He's very special." "I love him," Clara whispered. "Thank you." "But he's a soldier," said Fritz. "He should be mine." "You can't have him," cried Clara. Fritz tried to snatch the Nutcracker away from her. He pulled and Clara tugged, and then, crack! The Nutcracker's leg snapped off. Clara cradled the Nutcracker in her arms and wept. "Don't cry, Clara," said her godfather gently. "This soldier has been wounded, but I can soon fix him." Godfather Drosselmeyer pulled a little tool pouch from his pocket and quickly mended the Nutcracker so that he looked as good as new. "Oh, thank you," said Clara, drying her eyes. "I'll never let anyone hurt him again." Everyone was dancing now, and the house was filled with music and laughter. Clara placed the Nutcracker carefully under the Christmas tree and went to join the party. Finally, the last dance was danced, and the guests said their goodbyes. The family went to bed, and the house was dark and quiet. Bong! Clara awoke to hear the last bong of the clock striking midnight. "Oh no," she thought, "I left the Nutcracker all alone under the tree." Clara tiptoed downstairs and crept under the Christmas tree, holding the Nutcracker protectively. Suddenly the tree started to grow, taller and taller. Or was it just that Clara was shrinking? "What's happening?" she cried. "Don't be afraid," said a kind voice suddenly. Clara turned around. Her Nutcracker had come alive. Behind him, Fritz's soldiers were sitting up in their toy box, and Clara's dolls were gazing around. Before Clara could speak, she heard a scurrying sound, and from every nook and cranny an army of mice poured into the room. They were led by a giant mouse king with a golden crown. "Attack!" he squealed. "Who will fight with me?" cried the Nutcracker. The soldiers marched boldly out of the toy box. "To battle!" ordered the Nutcracker. The soldiers shouted and cheered, and the mice squealed and squeaked. Suddenly, Clara saw the Mouse King spring towards her beloved Nutcracker, baring his teeth. "No!" cried Clara. She snatched off her slipper and hurled it at the Mouse King. He fell to the ground with a cry, and his crown tumbled from his head. With their leader defeated, the mice scurried away in fear. The battle was won. The Nutcracker picked up Clara's slipper and placed it on her foot. She gasped. The Nutcracker had been transformed into a handsome prince. "I owe you my life, Princess Clara," he said. "You broke the spell that was put on me long ago by a wicked mouse queen." "I'm glad that you're safe," said Clara, "but you're mistaken. I'm not a princess." "Are you sure?" asked the prince. Clara looked down and saw that she was wearing a glittering gown and satin shoes. "Come," said the prince, "I'm going to take you on a wonderful adventure." The walls of the sitting room seemed to fade away, and a beautiful sleigh drew up in front of them, led by 2 reindeer. Clara and the prince climbed aboard, and they were swept high into the sky among the sparkling stars. Suddenly, Clara caught sight of a magical land down below. Lollipop trees shimmered on candy floss hills. There were gingerbread houses and rivers of honey and an orange-scented breeze. "Where are we?" gasped Clara. "This is the Kingdom of Sweets," said the prince. The sleigh landed beside a rose-coloured lake and changed into a sea chariot pulled by dolphins. Swans swam beside them and shimmering fish leapt out of the water. On the far side of the lake was a magnificent marzipan palace. A fairy with delicate wings was waving to them from the gate. "Look," said the prince, "it's the Sugar Plum Fairy." "Prince Nutcracker," cried the fairy, "you are home at last." "This is Princess Clara," said the prince as they stepped ashore. "She saved my life and broke the Mouse Queen's spell." The Sugar Plum Fairy hugged Clara. "Come and join the celebrations," she said. Inside the palace, Clara and the prince feasted on delicious cakes and sweets. They watched in wonder as dancers from every corner of the world whirled around the room. Then it was the Sugar Plum Fairy's turn. Clara had never seen such dancing. She twirled and twirled until all Clara could see was the blur of her plum-coloured dress. Clara's eyelids began to droop. Her adventures had made her tired. The sound of the music became fainter and fainter. When Clara woke up on Christmas morning, she found herself curled up under the Christmas tree next to the Nutcracker. Toys were strewn across the floor, and her parents were standing over her. "What have you been doing?" asked her father. "Oh, I've had the most wonderful adventure," said Clara. She told her parents all about the Mouse King, the Nutcracker Prince, and the Kingdom of Sweets. "It was just a dream, darling," said her mother. Clara gazed up at the sugar-plum-coloured fairy on top of the tree. Then she looked at the wooden Nutcracker in her hands. "Perhaps it was," she said. Suddenly, Clara noticed something glinting on the carpet, and a smile spread across her face. It was a tiny golden crown. "Merry Christmas, Prince Nutcracker," she whispered. The end. Merry Christmas.
Okay, so that was the story of the Nutcracker, my friends. To finish up class today, now that we know the story, to prepare us for watching the ballet, we need to know some musical things. So I have some musical selections that, to be honest, especially our older people, our second, third, fourth, and fifth graders, will probably recognize almost every single one of these songs. So first we have the Nutcracker's March. which is the March of the Toy Soldiers. In the story, this is the part where the Nutcracker and the other toy soldiers come to life to battle with the Mouse King. And what I want you to notice about this one is the way that it conveys a battle happening. Remember, a ballet has no words, only dance and music. So try to see if you can hear the battle happening. All right, so that is about the amount of time we're going to listen to each song because we have to get through a lot of stuff today. So I don't know if you could imagine the toy soldiers standing up and marching all in a row, but that's sort of what I saw, and I'm hoping that you could see it in your head too. The next one is called Tripak, or the Russian dance. So this is when they're in the land of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Dancers from all across the globe do some dances for entertainment of their guests, which is Clara and the Prince. So this dance is the Russian dance. And again, I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to recognize this one. All right, that is our Russian dance. The name of it is Tripak. All right, next up is the Waltz of the Flowers. This is, again, another part of the show that the Sugar Plum Fairy is putting on for Clara and the Prince. That's another good one. All of these songs in the Nutcracker are so good. All right, so that was Waltz of the Flowers. Up next, we have Waltz of the Snowflakes. So one thing that's really interesting about the word waltz is it's a type of dance, right? And waltz means it is in groups of three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You heard that in the last song. See if you can count the groups of three for Waltz of the Snowflakes. This is right before the Prince and Clara make it to the land of sweets. This is the land of snow. I don't know if you were able to see me in the corner. 1, 2, 3. You can tell it's a waltz because it's in groups of three. All right, let's see here. Whoops. I think we have one more selection to finish up class today. And Miss M, check the time. If there's not enough time for this one, that is okay. But let's try to squeeze it in here. This last selection we have is the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Not only will you probably recognize the music, the dance, I want to let you know, is one of the trickiest dances. So watch how much strength this ballerina has to use to do this dance. It's incredible. Every time I see that, it just gets me. They are so incredibly strong. All right, my friends. Well, I can't wait to start watching this with you. Next time I see you, we will start officially watching the Nutcracker together as a class, okay? And if you're asynchronous, please make sure to check out your music page on Schoology. The music assignments folder will have assignments for each day for our older students. That is my second and third graders and my fourth and fifth graders in Team Excellence. Okay? All right. Well, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.